COVID-19 cases are climbing across Georgia. A nonprofit, Sergio Ventures, has a new report out pinpointing the 20 most vulnerable counties in the United States for the Delta variant. It has put 7 Georgia counties in the Delta danger zone. The closest one to our area is Heard County. The report says these counties are the most vulnerable to the variant spreading. It correlates to low vaccination rates. According to the latest data from the Georgia Department of Health, about 55% of eligible Georgians haven't received the COVID-19 vaccine.
And you know, Jennifer, one way some cities are trying to combat the spread is a mask mandate. Savannah is the latest Georgia city to do just that. And new tonight, Natasha Lance has more on how metro counties compare to the coastal town.
I have ordered the reinstatement of Savannah's mask mandate effective immediately.
Savannah's mayor delivering a bleak order assigned to residents. Officials are bracing for another battle with COVID-19. Anyone in Savannah must now wear a mask while indoors with people outside their immediate family.
It is important for government officials to be proactive. There is no sense in waiting until a total devastation occurs.
A look at the Georgia Department of Health numbers show COVID cases are rising in Chatham County, where Savannah is located. The department's COVID map put the coastal town in orange with an 11.7% positive testing rate over the last 2 weeks.
I think it feels like a little bit of a regression. Like, I always hated the mask. I understand the importance of the mask, but the vaccine is supposed to make it safer. So
because Chatham County is in a position where they don't have as many hospital beds and as much healthcare staff available as some of the more metro counties, they especially have to be careful.
In the metro area, Fulton and DeKalb counties are starting to see a similar upward trend with cases, but so far both are below a 10% positive testing rate. A spokesperson for Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom says an executive order requiring masks in all city facilities remains in effect, and the city will continue to monitor the data while encouraging Atlantans to get vaccinated.
I strongly encourage other counties to look at their numbers, and if they see that things are increasing, if hospitalizations are increasing, if cases are increasing, they should try to stop things right now by reinstituting mask mandates in places where it seems necessary.
Natasha Lance reporting for us tonight. By the way, we reached out to Governor Brian Kemp's office about the mask mandate. A spokesperson reiterated that the governor is urging all Georgians to get vaccinated.